Some of the running backs will be missing this week from action. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, the aforementioned Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. To the extent you've been using him, Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray. Saquon Barkley is out. Najee Harris is out. Like, it's a lot of big-name running backs that may not be here. We don't know yet about Gus Edwards. John Harbaugh saying, like, it looks like a mild hamstring injury, but are they ever mild? Who knows, in terms of Gus Edwards as well. So there's a chance that that you need a running back this week. So we have some. And I would divide this into sort of two categories. Do you need a running back this week, or are you, as you enter week 9, are you 5-3? Are you 6-2? Are you looking more towards the future, or are you like, I just need a warm body this week?
Yeah, well, not necessarily a great matchup for this week, but potentially going forward is Kyren Williams, running back on the Rams, who plays at Tampa Bay. He's available in 55% of Yahoo leagues. Now, you gave it out early on Twitter that Ronnie Rivers was going to get extended run, and he did. He didn't produce, but he did get the run. Is Kyren Williams a guy that you think should be owned everywhere?
I certainly think he should be. The buzz, first off, to your point, no Rams running back has performed. We will see, like, Cam Akers might be back in the mix if he doesn't get dealt as well. Obviously, Henderson got out-touched by my Ronnie Rivers, but Ronnie Rivers didn't do much with the opportunity here. They play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week, and so Kyren Williams, who has been on the IR since the start of the season, but they love him, and he's available more than 50% of Yahoo leagues, has a chance to play this week, right? Last Wednesday, his 21-day activation window started, and so Kyren Williams has a shot to play against Tampa Bay. And the Buccaneers, which we thought coming into the season would be one of the best run defenses in the NFL, has just been absolutely dominated, right? They've given up 373 scrimmage yards to running backs over the last 2 games. They are last in terms of running back rush yards allowed. They're 28th in running back receiving yards allowed. And so whoever's the starting running back against the Bucs this week, I think is certainly flex viable. Maybe it'll be Ronnie Rivers, but we're hoping it's Kyren Williams. And if it's not Kyren Williams this week, it will be sooner rather than later. I definitely think he's worth a stash. They love him with a capital L in L.A.
Yep, no, I like that. Now let's go to another rookie running back who's certainly gotten some buzz in Isiah Pacheco, and also his running mate, Jerick McKinnon. Pacheco's available in 66% of leagues, McKinnon 93%. They play the Titans on Sunday night, and the Titans actually sneakily, now they have the #1 rushing defense in the league by DVOA, so not the best matchup. At the same time, the Chiefs are massive favorites in that game. So what do you like in that running back situation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love anything. I think it's still going to continue to be the sort of the hot hand approach, though it's worth noting that Isiah Pacheco seemed to get more run last week. Now, a lot of it came with a game out of hand. So the last time the Chiefs played, right? They were on a bye this past week. But when we saw them against San Francisco in week 7, he had the 8 carries for 43 yards, but just a 30% snap rate, and a lot of his production came after the game was out of hand. Having said that, right, in every game that he's had at least 8 carries, he's averaged over 5 yards per carry. He's looked the more effective running back to the eye test than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know they prefer McKinnon in a passing role. I think it's still going to be a hot hand approach, but to your point, they might be blowing out Tennessee in the second half. Then they play the Jags, the Chargers, and the Rams as well. So in a deeper league, just because there's a chance that Pacheco emerges as the guy for Kansas City, and if that were to happen, you'd want him. But right now, it feels like a committee. Just sort of gives you an idea of kind of like, we're not sifting through a ton here. It's a little bit bleak in the running back. I will say for deeper leagues, I do like Jerick McKinnon. He's led the Chiefs' backfield in snaps 3 straight games. He's had over 45 yards from scrimmage in 2 out of 3. So in deeper PPR leagues, McKinnon might be a viable flex. I mean, again, he's running back 55 in fantasy points per game. I mean, you have to be digging pretty deep here on McKinnon.
Yeah,
but I like the player.
Yes. I do too. I think with Isiah Pacheco for this week, if you're looking for fantasy value, you're going to need him to put up like 10 points in the fourth quarter when they're up by 20. Just quickly while we're on Tennessee, and this guy won't be available in any league, but Derrick Henry is 30-1 to win Offensive Player of the Year. Derrick Henry just had 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's basically the joint favorite to lead the league in rushing. He's the entire identity of that offense. He's on pace for almost 2,000 yards. He's going to get more than 15 touchdowns.
But isn't that usually a quarterback win?
No,
an award?
it doesn't. Offensive Player of the Year goes skill position the past 3 years it has. Now it's become an award where it's like, who's the best non-quarterback? Because MVP is a quarterback award. It just goes quarterback every time. So past 3 years, it's been Cooper Kupp, it's been Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas. And I think right now he is the best running back with how he's playing. And if it goes running back or receiver, I think Derrick Henry's huge. It's 30 to 1.
30 to 1.
You like that more than the Browns AFC?
I definitely like that bet more. So yeah, BetMGM use the promo code Barry when you go there to make that bet. 30 to 1 on Derrick Henry, Offensive Player of the Year. Rashad White is sort of interesting as we talk about sort of insurance running backs. Again, these are guys that like you're more stashing them, right? You mentioned Derrick Henry. Dontrell Hilliard is somebody that if I had Derrick Henry as my lead running back, I'd want Dontrell Hilliard on my team. Same with Leonard Fournette. If I had Uncle Lenny, I would want Rashad White, who's getting more and more work, right? He's had 7 or more touches now in 5 straight games. He's involved in the passing game, 3 or more receptions in 4 of those games for Rashad White. They like him a lot in Tampa Bay. He's earned Tom's trust as well. And so the Buccaneers, who have, hopefully they've figured some stuff out, right? They're coming up the mini-bye. They had the Thursday night game last week. They're home to the Rams this week, then Seattle, at Cleveland, at New Orleans. Not a great schedule, but not one that scares you. And also, by the way, the kind of schedule where you could see some passing game usage as well. Again, he's a deeper flex play, but also would immediately become a top 10 running back if anything happened to Leonard Fournette.
Yep. Let's jump to America's new nightmare, the Baltimore Ravens backfield. Well, and let's talk about Kenyan Drake, who's a popular discussion in our weekly waiver wire running back segment. John Harbaugh said that Gus Edwards, he has a hamstring injury, so he'll be day-to-day, probably. We'll see about the Monday night game. He'll have a chance. So what are you doing with Kenyan Drake?
Yeah, and that's the Monday night game. That's the problem is you may not have an indication as to whether or not Gus Edwards is going to play. But if I needed a running back for this week, I think Kenyan Drake is probably the guy, right? He's had at least 11 touches in 3 straight games. He's scored a touchdown in 2 of those. He's had over 65 yards in 2 of those games here. Gus Edwards either won't be active or maybe less than 100% here. They like Kenyan Drake. And the Saints, the Saints are giving up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing running backs in terms of, not the 9th most. They're giving up the 7th most rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. I'm looking at my notes a little bit wrong here, so I apologize there. But the fact is like, it's not a scary matchup here for Kenyan Drake. I'm not the biggest Kenyan Drake guy, but like, if you need somebody on a good offense that's going to get a decent amount of touches this week, Kenyan Drake, who's available in almost 70% of Yahoo leagues, I think is your guy for this week.
Kenyan Drake is like a really wealthy man's Marlon Mack, where he's like doing the circuit, but he's actually vaguely useful.
He's actually playing.
Yeah, he's actually playing, and might be RB1.
I miss my Marlon McIntosh.
Yeah, where are you? Let's move on to Caleb Huntley, who plays the Chargers this week. He's 96% available, Caleb Huntley, coming off a pretty strong game. Cordarrelle Patterson is still on IR. Arthur Smith yesterday said he expects an update around that on Wednesday, tomorrow. But is Caleb Huntley the guy you want in Atlanta over Tyler Algier?
I still think you prefer Algier, but there's no question that Huntley's getting work. It is a running back by committee on a very run-heavy team. He's now had 16 carries in 2 of the last 3 games, 16 for 91 last week in the game against Carolina. Playing the Chargers this week, who allow 6.1 yards per carry to opposing running backs. And so if Cordarrelle Patterson does not get activated off the IR, he is eligible to return this week. We'll see, as you mentioned, Arthur Smith will give us an update later this week. By the way, if somehow somebody dropped Cordarrelle Patterson, worth checking in your league to see if somebody did. Obviously, grab and stash him for whenever he comes back. But if Patterson is out for one more week, and I assume Algier is already rostered in your league, Caleb Huntley, who's available in 96% of Yahoo leagues, could be flex usable this week against the Chargers.
Yep. All right, let's jump to Latavius Murray, who is on bye this week, so more of a longer-term outlook. But Latavius Murray in London had 14 carries, 46 yards, gets the touchdown, out-rushes Melvin Gordon 14-9. So Latavius Murray,
running back.
Yeah, he should just be owned in every league. He's a flex guy.
Yeah, 1,000%. He just looks better, I think, than Melvin Gordon here. Mike Boone on IR, so it really is a two-headed monster. To your point, they are on a bye this week. You can't use them, and then they come back to play Tennessee, like a really good run defense. But after that, Vegas and Carolina. So you like those matchups as well. every game that he's played with the Denver Broncos, he's had at least 15 touches or a score. So they are using him in short yardage situations. And I thought, yeah, he looks better than Melvin Gordon. If you're looking for just sort of, again, we say this every week, but like you saw it this past week with Tony Pollard, right? We saw it with Deontay Foreman as well. Like these stash candidates, these backup running backs that we think are good, and then we know would get the run if anything happened to the running back in front of them, whether they're traded, whether they're hurt, what have you. But Alexander Mattison, who, you know, when he starts for Dalvin Cook, he got 4 games like that last year, 21.7 fantasy points. Mattison should be rostered because Dalvin Cook's rostered. Dalvin Cook has never played every game in an NFL season in his career. How about James Cook? Clearly seems like Cook has distanced himself from Zach Moss as the Devin Singletary backup as well. And, of course, Dearness Johnson, as we mentioned earlier in the show. If Kareem Hunt gets dealt, I think that's one of the reasons why you saw some Dearness Johnson last night.
Yep, just quickly, I'd add Dontrell Hilliard if he's available.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry is running it 32 times again. Like, it's absurd. And the more you run it, the more chance you do have to get hurt. All right, potential drops, Elijah Mitchell, Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, I mean, both guys. I mean, again, Elijah Mitchell, he's hurt, and when he comes back, he's merely going to be insurance for Christian McCaffrey. So there, and Chase Edmonds, right, hasn't had more than 7 touches in a game since week number 1. Played under 30% of the snaps in 4 of the last 5 games. He's just not a part of this Dolphins offense. So yeah. By the way, when we get back, breaking news: Adam Schefter just tweeting this out. The Lions are trading T.J. Hawkinson to the Vikings. Wow. So breaking news there: Hawk, now a member of Minnesota, just in time to face my Commanders. Great, of course. Fantastic. We will break that down along with more waivers when we return on Fantasy Football Happy Hour.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.